Okay. Hopefully I'm in the video shot, but if not, we'll just have to do the video over. Hi, my name is Sharifa, and welcome to the Nubian Review, where we chat about books, journaling, and lifestyles. Today, I'm going to bring to you something that's been going on in the YouTube community for a while. And I see these videos every year, but I've never participated. So this year will be my first year participating. And I just wanted to um, share some of the books and insights that I have. So this is March. Every March, there's this thing where it's March Mammoth Month. Mammoth means, well, I'm quite sure you know what it means, but we already know what mammoth means, right? Not the elephant, but elephants are big. Big books. I like big books, and I cannot lie. But I wanted to share with you a collection of books that I do own, and I would say that I've read about 50% of them. Some of them, most of them, I did start because normally when I get a new book, I like to probably read like maybe a chapter or a couple of chapters, and then come back to it at a later date. So let's get started because I don't want this video to be long and drawn out. So the first book I'm going to start with is by an independent author, and I'm looking for part one of the book and I cannot find it, but I want to share with you. It is called The Pot Plot. The Pot Plot. The author is Wesley Muhammad, PhD. I actually met him and he autographed the book for me. And he said that there's a volume one out. This is volume two. And this is such a great read. I haven't finished the book yet, but it talks about basically how the government had set up black communities, basically, to set up these drug posts in black communities, and basically charge mostly black males, with these heinous drug offenses for pot, which is now legalized in the United States. So the next book, this is a great read. I actually listened to this one on audiobook while I was reading it. This is Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom by David W. Blight. This is a Pulitzer. This is a history of Frederick Douglass told by David Blight. It's very vivid. I like it. It draws into a lot of areas of his life, really gets into his character. I thought that he did a good job, considering, these are, copious notes, that he's taken to write the book. But if you really want to read about Frederick Douglass, get his autobiography. It's not that big, but it's pretty good. So yes, this was a winner of a Pulitzer. And I'm sorry, let me go back, because this is a mammoth challenge. The first book, The Pot Plot, it is a total of, 818 pages. Now, I don't know if that includes, yeah, I'm just going to give you the number in total. And then, so Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom, it comes in at a whopping 888 pages. So let's move this along. The next one is African Founders: How Enslaved People Expanded American Ideas by David Hackett Fisher. And this wasn't a Pulitzer Prize. It wasn't a Pulitzer. However, it did get honorable mention. This is actually a pretty good book. And I read this a couple of years ago. Yes. And this is about how African Americans, Black Americans, have expanded the idea of the culture of the United States of America, but a lot of times are not giving credit for any of it. And it basically talk about their skills, and how it was a great contribution in building the country. Um, this stops at a whopping 944 pages. Now, I want to say is that I'm including the pages in total. So that's not how long the read is. However, if you're like me, I love looking through the index. I love, of course, the epilogue, because it's part of the book. Um, but I love reading through the index. I love looking at who contribute to the books and how they, where the resources were found. So that's just me. A lot of nonfiction, all nonfiction books, in most cases, unless it's a autobiography written by that person, you will have long indexes in the back because you want to be accurate on your sources. The next one, this is something that I'm currently reading, so forgive the little tattered top, because when I'm reading the book, I actually take the jacket off, and but I put it on for this video, and it's Jimmy Carter in Africa, Race in the Cold War by Nancy Mitchell. And I've had this book for a while, and I just decided to read it, with everything that's going on with Jimmy Carter and his wife recently passing. um, he was one president who probably got a lot of credit post presidency, right? Of a lot of things that that were accomplished in his administration. And so to move this along, this stops at a whopping 883 pages, and that is including the index and everything that is involved. So the Cold War. You know what? I'm not going to get into the details of the book. I will probably do a part 2 to this and break them down and talk a little bit about it. But because I have quite a stack here, I just want to share with you the books I do have in the Mammoth March Mammoth reading month. So the second one, this is a reread for me. I read it once. I read it actually twice. And so for the third time, which is funny, I love, love, love the story of the civil rights eras. Like anything regarding the civil rights era in the United States, I'm your girl. I mean, I love just reading about that historic part of history in Black history. And so this one is Parting the Waters, America in the King Years, 1954 through 1963. And this is Taylor Branch. Now, I was such a big person of not writing in my books, annotating it. And so I just got to the point to where, who am I saving this for? I mean, the book is for me. And so, and for me to, really enjoy my books, I really started annotating it, writing in it, writing little side quotes in. I'm like, this is my book. I'm going to use it how I want. Actually, I'm currently doing a reread of this, and I am annotating it, and I'm taking little notes. So if you see something sticking out on the side, those are the little notes. But for the most part, I wrote on the pages. And so this comes in at a whopping 1,062 pages. This is also part of a trilogy in which I'm getting ready to show you the rest of the books. So the second part of that series is Pillar of Fire. This is such great. Well, you know what? This is a good book. This is leading up to the last one, and this one is pretty good also. America in the King Years, 1963 to 1965. Same author, Taylor Branch. This is like in the thick of the civil rights movement. This was pretty good. Let's move it along. Oh, let's get the pages. How many pages is in this volume? I think this is the shortest of the volumes, and I think the Mammoth Challenge is 800 plus pages. However, this is not too shy of Men the Mammoth. This stops at 746 pages. That includes the index. Now, this can be a standalone. I would encourage you to read the other two, but At Cannon's Edge, oh my goodness, this is such a good book. I think this whole entire set should be required for any person who wants to understand the ins and outs of the civil rights and the parties involved, like on the ground information. I encourage you to read this trilogy. And this is the last of the trilogy. At Cannon's Edge, America in the King years, 1965 to 1968. And we know what year 1968 brought to us. And so, not to give any spoilers, I think it would have been a part 4 had it not been the assassination of King. This was such a great read, and I do encourage heavily people who want to, have more information on the civil rights movement to read all 3 volumes. And this stops at a whopping 1,039 pages, and that includes the index and everything else. All right, so that's just one side. Let me get to my others. I really was going to only do 10. So I guess I have 10 and 2 honorable mentions. And let me figure out who I will have as an honorable mention. Okay, well, it falls in order. So the next one that I have is The Rise of American Democracy, Jefferson to Lincoln, by Sean Willits. And this stops at a whopping, I want to say, 1,044. That includes the index. And this is just the history of American democracy and how it unfolded during the presidency of these men right here, right? From Jefferson to Lincoln, which is really a short period, but the book I've read this a long time ago, so I will have to refresh my memory. It gives so much details about the Civil War and how it was handled, and how democracy really started changing the trajectory of women, slaves, and everyone else. And so this is, I would say, I would consider all the books I have on this list a must read. Yes, but if you find something that you find more interesting, I encourage you to read it. Most of these books are either an ebook now, and some of them are ebooks in audio. So if I encourage you to to explore some of the books on this list. Okay, so I remember getting this, and it got such mixed reviews. And I'm not finished reading it. I read some of it, but I felt like, from what I have got through so far, they gave former President Obama. It seemed like his reputation wasn't always on the up and up. But yeah, but this is a good read. I haven't finished it yet. I started it, and then I stopped, and then I start, and then I stop. I think that one day this year, I do want to sit down and finish this and give a really good book chat about former President Barack Obama. So this is Rising Star: The Making of Barack Obama, David J. Garrow. He is also the author of Bearing the Cross, which is also a great book about the civil rights movement. And so here we go right here. let's see. Let's see how many pages we have. This is stopping at a whopping um 1,460 pages, and that includes the index. Okay, let's move it on. This right here is, oh my goodness. Okay, I think this should be, be considered as a movie, and and if they do write this as a movie, it can be broken down into a part one and a part two, because it's just a great story. However, um, I hope it fall into the right hands if they do decide to explore, adaptation, to adapt this into a movie, because I think everybody should, at least have the pleasure of knowing this author. And the book is called Divine Days by Leon Forrester. I'm sorry, Forrest, not Forrester. I'm thinking of Forrest Whitaker. Um, and so this talks about a man and his adventures in his life in 1 week. Yes, this whole entire book, it just covers 1 week of the character's life, and so I don't want to give too many spoilers, but it's a great read. The setting is in Chicago during the jazz era age, when it was heavy, and it just talks about the character, who is a um, writer or a musician. He's one of those. Or did his auntie own? Yes. He is a writer. He is a playwright and a journalist. And he moonlights as a bartender. So it talks about his life and his ups and downs and the things that he's seen and experienced within 1 week. And so how it had manifested into this great story. Divine Days. Now, this book was reprinted, I think, twice. So you will more likely find a paperback before you find a hardcover. But either way it go, great book. And let's see, what page are we at? This is probably this is actually my only book on this list that is fiction. Everything else on my list is nonfiction. So I thought I would mention that caveat. This stops at 1,135 pages. Highly recommend reading. Okay, so that was 10 books. The 2 books I have, I've seen them across YouTube, and I think that will be the only reason why I don't think that I'm going to make too much a big deal out of it, but I've seen them, but I did not see them. And I think I've seen a version of all of the books that I have in the Mammoth reading challenge. However, I just want to mention this for my own pleasure. So honorable mention, it would be The World, a family history of humanity by David Simbag and Montefiore. And I'm actually in the process of reading this. I had to put the book dust jacket back on. I'm not actually in the process of reading this one as well. I like to delve into several books at one time. I will probably, read an hour this day, hour that day. But one thing I have been doing is focusing on completing some of my bigger books. It can be a little dense. Some of them can be drawn out depending on the subject matter and what they're talking about. But all in all, to get the full pleasure of just reading the book and being able to give my opinion and my twist on the book. So this one right here, this is fairly new. I want to say this book is about maybe a year and a half old. It was published. This is one of the newer books that was published of the stack that I have, and this stops at a whopping 1,304 pages. I think that this one is probably the biggest I've mentioned so far out of my stack. So last but not least, and I have to get to this book. I did get this one off a YouTuber. I don't know who it was. I cannot even tell you how long it was. I've had this book for a while, have not gotten into it. It is the novel, a biography by Michael Schmidt. It is a book. The novel is about the history of novels. It goes practically to the inception of like the first novels, different types of novels. How did that term come up? And it talks about different authors throughout history of writing. Great book. Um, Hopefully to get into it sometime by the end of this year, just to even just crack the pages open to delve into it. This stops at a whopping. It reads. Oh, I love the pages at the end. It's like some. It's like the Tomo River paper. It stops at 1,100 1,172 pages. That is including the index. And here you have it. All the books that I'm sharing with you for March Mammoth Reads. Hopefully, I've mentioned something that was interesting in this assortment of books that I have, and hopefully, you're able to grab a book, sit down, and read one of the mammoths this year. Thank you for watching my channel. What I'm going to do with the books that I do have, because I really didn't get into the meats and bones of it, I don't want to give any spoiler alerts. What I may do in a separate video, and I'm not completely promising this, but is to go over the ones that I did read and have like a book chat. And if that sounds interesting to you, leave something in the comments, and I will work to get that going. So thank you for watching my channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like this video, or if you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. But hopefully you're giving me a thumbs up, and hopefully you'll come back to my channel soon to see more great book reviews. I know that for the month of April, it is Earth Day, and so I definitely have a couple of books that I would like to chat about for Earth Day. So hopefully you'll come back for that. Other things that I have planned, I don't really plan anything for the Nubian review, but I really want to get into planning more book video reviews instead of book hauls. And so thank you for joining me, and hopefully you'll come back and visit soon. Bye-bye.